What's up, Super Players? It's your homie C-Rod, and I bring you another amazing video where I'm gonna tell you 7 decks that you can build that are pretty darn budget friendly. A lot of people have been hitting me up on Instagram saying, C-Rod, make a deck profile that doesn't break the bank, and I got you covered. I got 7 decks, pretty awesome, pretty fun, and if you're a beginner or if you're in a budget, pretty awesome to play. So check it out. The first deck that I'm going to talk about is for you Broly fans that are on a budget. I got the Broly Evil Unleashed coming back from the dead. I mean, this guy is pretty darn awesome. The leader is a starter deck leader, and I wouldn't recommend to buy those starter decks because they're like 50 to 80 bucks right now. So I would say buy the leader single and then buy the rest of these cards single as well, because if you buy the starter deck, it runs for a lot, but you could buy them all singles and it'll be a relatively cheap deck. The leader, if you guys don't know what it does, it's able to pretty much self-awaken by bringing out the 1-drop Broly, which is only a couple cents, and then you're able to bring out a bigger Broly, and then a bigger Broly, and then the biggest Broly that's eventually going to kill your opponent. And the good news is that this little engine is relatively budget friendly. The most expensive card that you could probably spend your money on is probably going to be the Super Combo Defending Father Paragus, but the link is in the description. Check it out. It's a very budget friendly deck. You could have a good time with it, and you could actually beat people with this deck. It's heavily based on the Broly chain, and guess what? The Broly chain is very cheap. The SRs are running for about $3, so you got yourself the boss card right there and then. So you could build yourself the Broly deck. The next deck that I want to talk about is the Son Goku deck for you Mastered Ultra Instinct fans. Now, luckily for us, all the dual color cards are extremely budget friendly now. This deck was over $1,700 deck, obviously because of the secret rare Apex of Power, but you're not going to run that in this build. Click in the description. You're going to be able to find the deck list. The most expensive card probably is going to be Sleepy Boy Technique. Now, because of the Mystic Booster Box, a bunch of the cards that used to be very expensive are now dropping in price, like the cooler Tyrannical Assault. Sorry if I said that wrong, but yeah, that guy used to be like 15 bucks a pop. Mystic Booster just dropped the price of that card to $2, so you got yourself some pretty darn awesome cheap cards. A bunch of the cards in Dragon Ball Super card game are cheap. A bunch of the decks that were, I would say, over hundreds of dollars are now extremely budget friendly. So the most expensive card in this deck is probably going to be the Son Goku Instinct Surpassed or the Son Goku Revival Seeker. These guys are probably going to be the most expensive in the deck, but it's not even going to cost you that much. So I would say definitely pick this deck up. It's going to be based on using extra cards, and you're gonna Surge Awaken, meaning you're gonna get a red card and a blue card, put it under your leader to awaken at any time, and then you go Ultra Instinct Goku, which is able to see the hand and take cards away, and then you bring out the Mastered Ultra Instinct to kill your opponent and burn damage them. It's a really awesome deck, especially if you're a Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku player. So click in the link below. Also follow us on Whatnot. We have awesome auctions all the time, and we do live awesome giveaways, bunch of awesome stuff on our app. So, well, it's not our app, the Whatnot app, and on our profile there. Definitely check us out. So another deck that I want to talk about is Gotenks. I know there's a lot of Gotenks fans out there, so Gotenks is extremely budget friendly now. Click on the link below. Yet again, I like to say this all the time, but it's a very budget friendly. It just won first place at our locals, and it's a deck that you could build for not too much money, probably like $100 or less. And the most expensive card in this is probably Frieza, Charismatic Villain. And that card is a must because you need to be able to kill things whenever they come out as a counter play. So definitely you want to buy those. They're a little pricey, probably like $8 each, you know, the price is going down because of the reprints, so you're able to afford a lot of these cards in here. Yet again, Defending Father Paragus, the super combo, is a very expensive card in this deck, but for the most part, your SRs are not running for too much. They are, you know, around a couple bucks, but you need those SRs to build this deck. And of course, you got to stay Supah. That's the Supah sign right there. But for sure, you definitely want to build this deck. Link in the description. The point of this deck is to be able to bring out a Gotenks by fusing a Trunks and a Goten in your hand, and you know, place them in the drop, and you bring out Gotenks, and Gotenks is just able to pressure your opponent, kill stuff, and it's gonna be a very powerful deck that could win a lot. So if you want to play a Gotenks fusion theme type of deck, where you fuse a lot from the hand to bring out Gotenks, this is a deck that I highly recommend. Now let's move on to the Gerund. For you Gerund fans out there, we got Gerund Blind of Destruction. Now this Gerund deck is from the newest set, and it's all about EX evolving. It's about evolving your Gerunds into the biggest Gerund, which is the one with this shirt off that's 35k and blows up your opponent's cards. Now, yeah, that guy. So luckily for us, that card, which is the big Sancho, is not running for that much. You could get like a playset of them for about 10 bucks, and that is probably the most you're gonna spend in a little playset of 4 cards. Everything else is pretty budget friendly, costing around 80 cents for the playset if you get them common, of course. You could always go all out and buy the foils, and then this deck turns into a very expensive, over $300 type deck. But if you're trying to keep it friendly, like to the wallet, just buy yourself the commons non-holo version. But if you're like me, you want to get the holo version and have your whole deck foiled out if you really love your deck, of course. But thanks to the Mystic Booster yet again, like SSB Kaioken Goku is not a $50 card. Now it only costs like a couple bucks, so you can get them from the Mystic Booster set. So if you want to try to join our auctions on the Whatnot, we auction out some Mystic Booster packs. Maybe you could get yourself some of these awesome cards that used to cost a lot, but now are a lot cheaper. So definitely build yourself this Gerund deck if you are a Gerund fan. Without a doubt, you want to build this deck. Link is yet again in the description. Now, I built a deck for the Frieza players. This deck is not too expensive as well. The most expensive card you could probably spend in this deck is the Dark Broly Overwhelming Evil Unison. And that card is just pure hand destruction. It kills your opponent. It's awesome, and it's a pretty cool card to have in this deck, but it's not necessary. But for the most part, all your Frieza army cards that come in this Frieza deck are going to be costing roughly like $1 for the entire playset. So you can build the whole deck for really darn cheap. And yet again, check out the link in the description. The deck list is right there. But the Frieza deck is from the starter deck as well. A lot of the starter decks have a good engine in it that's good enough to beat a good amount of decks, and does well without any extremely expensive cards. You know, of course, you're going to want to get yourself the Frieza Charismatic, because those are a staple for green, so you always want to get those. And if you pay whatever you pay for those, you're going to have them for all your green decks, and trust me, that card is good. But for the most part, this deck is all about destroying your opponent's hand. You want to attack, destroy your Frieza's army, kill your opponent's hand. That's why you want to run a lot of hand destruction / Frieza's army in this. And in the link below, you can check out the whole deck, copy it, and you'll probably build it for like less than 30 bucks, unless you get yourself the SPRs and high rarity versions. So you can definitely check out the Frieza hand destruction deck if you want. Very friendly on the wallet. And I built a Zamasu deck because I love Zamasu. I love Goku Black. So why not build the old school Fuse Zamasu Supreme Strike. And this is going to be the leader that is based on fusing Goku Black and Zamasu and giving energy to your opponent so that you could kill him with your leader's ability, that you're able to pretty much steal your opponent's life and place him under the deck when you make your opponent have over 8 energies. So you're pretty much gonna auto win with your leader, but you have to give your opponent energy. So we went with the old engine of just blue, yellow, ramp up, bring out your Goku Blacks, bring out your Zamasus, fuse, try to stay alive, and make sure that your opponent builds up their energy so you could go for game with your leader. So this deck is very, very awesome for Zamasu fans because it runs hella Zamasus and it runs hella Goku Blacks, and it, you know, stays true to its theme, which is Goku Black and Zamasu. So I definitely recommend you guys to build this deck. Without a doubt, really, really fun and really, really cheap. When I'm saying cheap is like there was a lot of cards that were expensive, but now they have dropped in price dramatically. In the links that I have put in the description, they haven't updated the TCG player price. You could always find the cheaper version on the link below where it says buy Dragon Ball cards here. Just check out the cheaper version of the card. There is always a cheaper version, and these decks will cost probably like 15-20 bucks the most. You could always get the highest rarity version, but not my recommendation if you're trying to stay in a budget. So now the last one that I want to talk about is gonna be the Supah Playaz. This deck was inspired by Tony G. It's a Son Goku Jr. Goku's Lineage deck, and this deck is pretty darn budget friendly. Probably the most expensive card in here is gonna be the SS3 Further Beyond Super Saiyan, but that card is so beautiful looking. I would just have it just to collect. That card is really nice, but this deck is all about Goku's lineage. It's Goku Junior and swapping into, you know, Goku, Gohans, and being able to swap. And the swap mechanic is where you put Goku's lineage, you're able to switch it with a card in your hand and do the whole swap. And this deck is really, really, really fun. It runs Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku as the finisher. The SR is probably running for a couple bucks. The SPR though is running for like a couple hundred. So the SPR version of that Master Ultra Instinct Goku is highly collectible, so I wouldn't play with it unless you were a savage. But other than that, you can buy the deck for really darn cheap. Like I said, the it's not Victory Strike. The Height of Mastery Goku is just gonna win. Triple Strike. It's a dual attack if I'm not mistaken. It's gonna kill your opponent, and it taps out your opponent as well. And you can just run the whole Goku's lineage. The whole engine is really, really darn cheap and really, really darn fun for you Goku fans out there that want to run a deck that's themed around the lineage of Goku. And if I'm not mistaken, that's all 7 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yup. We got Broly, Son Goku, Master Ultra Instinct. We got Gotenks. We got Gerund. We got the Frieza deck, we got the Zamasu, and we got the Goku Jr. Those are all the decks that you can build. Definitely follow us on Whatnot. We auction out a bunch of booster packs where you can get yourself some of these cards, so why not? We're probably going to have an auction this Thursday around 7:30 p.m. So check us out. And we might actually build one of these decks and auction it out on the Whatnot. So that'll be pretty darn fun. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like. If you want to see other type of budget deck videos, definitely let me know in the description below. Or in the description below, what am I saying? In the comment section below. And, you know, maybe we'll have more awesome videos like these. Or if you have any other ideas, also let us know. So we're going to call it a wrap. And like we always say, y'all stay super and stay in a super budget.